Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lumpin Vishum. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 15th of June. Pakistan's anti-Taliban crackdown completes a year. India prepares to observe first International Yoga Day. And monsoon trawling ban worries fishermen in southern India. And now for all the details. The Taliban has rejected a ceasefire appeal by the Afghan clerics. The Ulema Council had urged the militia to stop all terror attacks during the Islamic fasting month of Ramzan.
The Afghan Taliban said it will step up the number of strikes in the country during the holy month of Ramzan. Zabihullah Mujahid, the spokesperson of the Taliban, justified the move, claiming that the US troops are still invading Afghanistan. The announcement came after the Ulema Council, Afghanistan's top religious body, made an appeal to the Taliban to give up violence during the month of fasting, which begins this week. The Taliban had recently stepped up attacks on both civilians and security personnel as part of its annual spring-summer offensive. It has carried out dozens of attacks, killing over 100 people since April, ever since it announced its fighting season. The Taliban has also made advances in capturing various regions, especially in southern Helmand province, a traditional stronghold of the militia. The violence comes despite the Taliban and Afghan government reportedly working towards resuming the peace talks, which have been stalled for over 2 years.
Pakistan's military operation Zarb-e-Azb, launched against the TEHREEK-E-TALIBAN, completed 1 year on Monday. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif lauded the contribution of the army in the crackdown, apart from congratulating the country on the occasion. The operation was launched on June 15 last year against the TTP after repeated efforts towards peace with the insurgents failed. According to the Pakistan Army, more than 2,700 militants have been killed in Waziristan and adjoining areas in the last 1 year. It has also reportedly inflicted severe damage on the militia to carry out terror strikes. Pakistan Muslim League's victory over the recent elections in Gilgit-Baltistan has not won well with the locals, who call it Islamabad's facade towards maintaining its rule in the illegally occupied territory.
Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League might have emerged as the single largest party in Gilgit-Baltistan. Residents, however, continue to call the polls rigged. The election, which was overseen by the Pakistan Army, saw low voter turnout as a protest by the locals who detested Islamabad's illegal occupation of their homeland. Many say they don't expect anything different from the new government in terms of development.
इस सूबाई दारुल हुकूमत में पिछले 5 सालों के दौरान 1 रुपया खर्च नहीं हुआ है किसी नए मंसूबे के लिए। यहाँ की सड़कें टूट फूट का शिकार है। यहाँ पानी का जो निज़ाम है वो इतना नाक़िस है कि वहाँ से आने वाला पानी इतना आलूदा है कि लोग उसको इस्तेमाल करने से पहले 10 दफ़ा सोचने पे मजबूर हो जाते हैं। और इसी तरह तालीम का जो शोबा है वो अपनी तबाहाली का शिकार रहा।
Gilgit-Baltistan, which has been under Pakistani occupation for over 6 decades, is remotely administrated by the Islamabad government through a council headed by the Pakistan Prime Minister. Despite the announcement of numerous development programs, the millions of funds released have always been pocketed by a corrupt nexus of officials and bureaucrats.
तकरीबन 70 अरब रुपए मालियत के मंसूबे थे जिनको मुकम्मल नहीं किया गया। उनके लिए मुख्तस जो रकम है वो करप्शन की नज़र हो गई, लूट मार की नज़र हो गई और वो मंसूबे अधूरे रह गए।
Bukhari added that unless the administration is handed over to locals, nothing will change on the ground.
असल मसला है यहाँ पर इंतज़ामी सतह पर होने वाली माली बदनवानियों और मेरिट की खिलाफ वर्जियों का। अगर इंतज़ामी कंट्रोल जो है वो मजबूत हाथों में हो और सही फैसला करने वाले हाथों में हो तो फिर इस करप्शन के नासूर पर काबू पाया जा सकता है।
Gilgit-Baltistan remains mired in extreme poverty and backwardness with a pervasive absence of even basic amenities. While Pakistan collects taxes from locals, it allocates little budgetary support for the development of the region.
The Indian government has granted citizenship to nearly 4,300 Hindus and Sikhs from Pakistan and Afghanistan in 1 year. The move is seen as the first step towards giving Indian nationality to some 200,000 refugees from neighbouring countries. The ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, which announced the figures on Sunday, claimed the number was nearly 4 times as compared to the preceding regime under the Congress, which stood at 1,023. There are over 200,000 Hindu and Sikh refugees from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh living in various parts of India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had during his election campaign last year said that Hindus fleeing persecution anywhere in the world would be treated like Indian citizens. The Modi government had recently issued an executive order to grant nationality to Hindus who had migrated from Bangladesh. India is set to revive its age-old exercise tradition. Ahead of the International Yoga Day, the nation is gearing up to promote the ancient fitness regime. Take a look.
Indians have been well versed with their historic practice of maintaining health, while yoga sessions have so far remained limited to morning exercise routines in parks and homes. Many have also followed the discipline in special indoor classes. But India's favourite exercise medium is set to get global this weekend. Ever since the United Nations declared June 21st as International Day of Yoga, the nation has been upbeat about preparing to mark the big day. Residents in capital New Delhi joined in Yoga Guru Baba Ramdev for a practice session. They are set to participate in the massive program next Sunday. People from different age groups are training to promote yoga on the big day all across India.
योगा अपने शरीर के लिए है और शरीर के लिए हर इंसान को अपना चाहिए करे. जो आदमी स्वस्थ रहेगा वो देश स्वस्थ रहेगा.
A physical and mental practice, yoga is also said to have a spiritual and meditative core and dates back to pre-Vedic Indian traditions. Spiritual gurus like Swami Vivekanand professed the discipline to the Western world in the 19th century. Many also said undertaking the age-old fitness practice would enhance the health and productivity of the nation as a whole.
This would be optimizing the dynamic equilibrium of the mind and body to connect, to harness the max energy sources for that brief period of time where we give in our max as we conduct the flight.
In December last year, the UN General Assembly, through a consensus resolution, adopted the measure proposed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling to commemorate the ancient practice of yoga. The federal and provincial governments all across India have been making extensive arrangements to promote yoga. Prime Minister Modi has recently also chaired a high-level meeting to review the preparations, seeking coordinated efforts from various government departments along with participation of eminent yoga practitioners to make the first Yoga Day a success. Around 100 million people are expected to take part in over 100,000 camps on June 21st. The Delhi police has also issued traffic advisory around the venue running between the Presidential Palace and India Gate. Officials from Guinness World Records are also set to document the day as the largest yoga class and most nationalities participating in yoga lessons. 191 nations have already confirmed to observe the International Yoga Day alongside India.
The wholesale price inflation in India for the month of May has fallen by 2.36%, according to the latest figures revealed on Monday. This is the 7th straight month when the inflation has shown signs of slowing down. A report.
As expected, the wholesale price inflation fell to 2.36% in May compared to the 2.65% in April. The number stood at 6.18% at the same time last year. The WPI figures have been seeing a downward trend since November 2014. The Consumer Price Index data released last week, however, showed retail inflation edged up to 5.01% in May, even as prices of fruits and vegetables eased during the month. But analysts feel the WPI could go up in the coming days.
RBI would like to watch inflation data for the next 2 months. Because for the next 2 months or perhaps for the next 3 months, there could be deficient monsoon, and in case we have deficient monsoon, there could be impact on food prices. Also, my personal expectation is that crude oil prices may increase. So I think if you talk about RBI, maybe that they may like to watch the data for July and August.
The Reserve Bank of India had also in its policy review warned about upward risks to inflation. The impact on food production from a deficient monsoon and possible increase in crude prices globally were cited as reasons for the increase. The RBI aims to contain CPI inflation at 6% by January 2016.
In a bid to protect the fishes during the spawning season, India's southern Kerala issued the annual trawling ban on its coastal regions. While this is likely to surge the fish rates in the markets, it has also left the local fishermen worried about their income.
Kerala enforced a 47-day statewide ban on trawling beginning Sunday midnight. The prohibition is seeing thousands of mechanized boats off the territorial waters at various harbours in the southern province. The annual monsoon ban on traditional fishing activity has left scores of fishermen worried as they have been rendered jobless. The state authorities have made all arrangements to ensure that no violation takes place.
ഇവിടുന്ന് പോകുന്ന ബോട്ടുകളൊക്കെ തോടി അവസാനിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങളെല്ലാവരും പണിയില്ലാതായിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങളുടെയൊക്കെ അവസ്ഥ വളരെ മോശമായിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഞങ്ങൾക്കൊരു 47 ദിവസം വളരെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടിലാവും. അതൊക്കെ തന്നെ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇതിന് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുള്ളൂ. പിന്നെ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ആകെയുള്ളത് ഇവിടുത്തെ ഒരു ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രതീക്ഷയുള്ളൂ. അത് കേരള ഗവൺമെൻറ് അത് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുമെന്നാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ നോക്കിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്.
Although the federal government had proposed a ban for 61 days from 1st June to 31st July in all coastal provinces, the government of Kerala allowed its fishermen to go on fishing till Saturday. The ban has been imposed with an aim to protect marine species during the breeding season. Fisheries, one of the staple food items in Kerala, are however expected to become dearer by a minimum 30% hike in the rates. Kerala has around 222 marine villages with a total of around 120,500 fishermen household.
History is revived through books, films and sculptures, but this time it happened through a rare collection of antique currencies. Take a look at how this valuable legacy took the visitors back to the ancient times.
The exhibition of unique currency drew hundreds of visitors in India's eastern West Bengal. The 3-day event in Siliguri boasted of a distinctive collection of gold and silver notes and coins from across 120 countries. Visitors were amused to see the remarkable variety in first-of-its-kind display in the city.
শিলিগুড়িতে এটা প্রথম তাই ভেবে শুনে চলে এলাম দেখতে তাই এসে দেখছি বিভিন্ন দেশের বিভিন্ন মুদ্রা তারপরে নোট সব সাজিয়ে রেখেছে সুচারু রূপে খুব ভালো লেগেছে এবং
The exhibition was aimed at boosting interest among the current generation in numismatics.
And notes of East Germany, West Germany before World War. We have rare coins of Bulgaria, notes of Zimbabwe, Czech of Zambia, etc.
The event also provided a rare opportunity to children who got a sneak peek into the world history through the various currencies.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. Pakistan's anti-Taliban crackdown completes a year. India prepares to observe first International Yoga Day. And monsoon trawling ban worries fishermen in southern India. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.